America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Introductions.
And online we have Jennifer, Deb, and Julie. For you three online, I can't really tell like if you have your hand raised or chatting as much now with the big screen. So just yell if you need something. Interrupt. I'll try to keep tabs on it, but I need another set of eyeballs to do that.
So will we see something if one of them
Yeah, so you might be able to see it, actually.
raise their
if
hand
they
or
raise a
something like
hand.
that?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Jump up and down.
Yeah. Open up your camera and start jumping up and down. We'll see ya. Okay.
Introduction.
So, everybody else here we have Harley and Bob and Judy and Rose and James and Nancy. And we have the whole select board here. We have Bob Jones, Mike Beecher, Jessica Van Ort, Perry Brown, Rich Hewlett, and I'm Kristen Powers. And we have to approve 2 sets of minutes tonight. So the regular meeting minutes from March 7th and then the organizational meeting minutes from March 8th.
I'll move to approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And I got excited and I swiftly went over addition or deletion. I sent out an updated agenda this morning, which I don't know if everybody saw, but what was on that was that Judy and Rose had requested to be on the agenda while I was out of town. So that's first up. Bob Morlino requested to be on the agenda earlier on this evening as well, so that's on there. Under the road foreman's report, there's an update about the town garage property and then also some updates on the highway department applicants that are coming in for the open position, which might result in an executive session just to talk about rates of pay or discuss options there. And then that's it. So just those were the new things that weren't already on there. So.
Oh, what about that email that you sent out about the flashing signs?
Yes, the flash. Yes.
From the state.
Yes. That too. Yes. So that under roads is speed signs. So is everybody okay with those additions? Okay. So then for pre-requested, there's Judy and Rose.
Judy and Rose, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman Beecher and board members. Judy Coolidge and I are here for the Pawlett Historical Society. We have a couple things that we'd like to discuss with you. This summer we'll be celebrating our 50th anniversary, and we've planned to have an event that'll be free to the public. It'll include speakers, magician, face painting, and exhibits. We're hoping to use the auditorium upstairs for exhibit and a speaker, and the library for exhibit and magician and the face painting. The exhibit that we want to have upstairs is particularly sensitive. It's our textile collection, which is some of it from the 1800s, and they're very delicate. And our question tonight is, the air conditioning working up there? Do we know? Is there a plan for air conditioning?
At this point, we don't have any active construction type work going on out there.
So there's no AC up there, or there is?
There is no AC up there. The only thing we had is we had a couple of window units that could be installed to help temper the air.
Okay. So no,
The central air has not been hooked up upstairs.
okay. And is that in the budget to do, or not at all, or just
We've-
hasn't been?
We've discussed it, but we don't have any current plans. But when is your
July 22nd?
July 22nd? That doesn't leave a lot of time to pull something like that off, but we haven't really talked with the, since we've established a new board about
Okay.
our directions and stuff like that, yeah, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Are those units here, the 2 units that you stick
There are
in the
2
window?
window units that could just be installed. We bought them several years ago, and they were never installed. So certainly they were like as large as you could run off 110, so they would definitely help. But as far as the central air hook being completed up there, I find that would be unlikely by that date.
So do you have somebody that can, we don't have anybody on the board that can physically do
Right.
that work. Do you have somebody that can install those?
I'm sure we could find somebody. We may need 2 people to, if they're like 1,500 unit.
Are they down in the basement?
No, I think,
Are they still?
They're on the bottom of the stairs.
Oh, okay.
but they could get lugged up. They could get lugged up the elevator shaft. But some of those bigger ones, you have to take them apart and set the case in and stuff. But I think that we could probably find somebody
Okay.
to do that, and we can make sure that they're complete in plenty of time for you to set up your.
Okay. All right, that'd be great. And we'd like to extend an invitation to everybody here. It's free, open to the public. It'll be in the afternoon of that July 22nd, which is a Saturday.
Okay.
The second item we'd like to talk about tonight, some of you may or may not be aware that the Pawlett Historical Society took on cleaning up the old cemetery across from the road from the chapel. It was noted at our last cleanup that one of the 2 trees, as you face the old cemetery to the left of the gate, was dying. And at that time, Johnny Haynes thought it would be about $800 to take that tree down. Well, in this ensuing time, it is bad now. And we had budgeted $800, but he's guessing that it'll be at least $2,000, maybe more, to take that tree down. So I don't know if there's any way that the town could assist us in that project to protect the gravestones and the fence and from damage, and so that we can take that tree down.
Who owns the property?
The town, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yes, it all goes with the historical society and that.
Well, we don't own it.
The cemetery, it's part of the cemetery.
It's part of
It's
the.
not managed by any actual cemetery association like some of the other ones are. Okay.
No,
So,
that part.
so then by default, it's the
the town.
it's the town, okay.
So if you could, investigate whether there's any, like, we could maybe reduce the price with some removal help. There's some other outlets I can look at to assist with the price, but I'm worried about it, causing severe damage to those very old headstones.
Okay.
That was the only other thing I had tonight. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the Historical Society?
I can't picture the tree. We'd have to look at it.
You'll go up and look at it, see if
We'd
we
have to
can,
go up and look at it to see what it's.
see if we can come up with,
It's probably
maybe.
gonna have to come down with a bucket truck in order not to damage anything, but we'd have to look at it first to see.
I suppose there is a potential if he could get it on the ground, we could haul it away. So
Yeah.
there may be some benefits, but we'll do some further review and get back with you people.
That'd be great.
And we do have budget for the repairs and maintenance of town property. So, I mean, if it is town property, that there might be a possibility.
Okay,
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
thank you. Anything else for the historicals?
Okay.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, hi.
Thanks for letting me into the agenda at a late date. I checked my calendar and I didn't realize that I wouldn't be here for the next couple of select board meetings, so I needed to get some signatures. It's that time of the year where we update the local emergency management plan, which I've done, and you all have a copy of it. I'm going to come back in May to review some of this with you. It's been quite a long time since I updated you on emergency management, so I'll do that in May. In the meantime, this has to be approved and sent in by May 1st, so I have to get it done. There's 3 documents that have to be signed. One, and we do this every year, same documents every year. The first one is what they call the NIMS adoption document, National Incident Management System document. And this document designates the National Incident Management System as the basis for incident management in the town of Pawlett. What that means is that the emergency services, the fire departments have trained to the incident command system, which nearly all firefighters are. The select board also has to be trained or should be trained to incident command system 402. I think Bob, you and Mike have it. I'd like to get the other 3 trained at some point. I'm going to try and get the course taught here like we did the last time, but I don't know whether I'm going to be successful with that. So, and it's not online. You have to do it in person. So I'll look into it. I'll try to get it here if I can. I'm sure that there are other select board members in Wells and perhaps Danby and Rupert that would also need it. So if I can get 10 or 15 people, we might be able to do it here. It's about I don't think it's more than a couple of hours course. It explains emergency management and incident management system for select board members. The other thing, the NIMS is, you should have an EOC, an Emergency Operations Center, which we have, and all the other things that we do in emergency management. So this is the, Mike, this is for you to sign as the chair. That's the NIMS saying that we do indeed comply with the National Incident Management System. The next document is the plan that you have, and this is the adoption plan. So this means that the select board adopts our emergency plan. By the way, this local emergency management plan that you have in front of you, there's no substantive changes in there except names, name changes, telephone numbers. I didn't make any changes from last year that are substantive in that. So there's nothing to tell you that you're signing something that's changed substantially over last year. So like I had to put names, your name in it, Perry, I had to get all your telephone numbers, all of that information has to be updated. So that was done. That's this document. This has 2 signatures. One is saying that you certify that that document, the emergency management plan, meets the Vermont National Incident Management System. You don't have to take my word that it does. In fact, it more than does. And then the second one is you attest that the municipality has adopted the NIMS and LEMP, and you just did that. So that's that document. And then the third document is regional planning. It's emergency mutual aid agreement for the Public Works Department. Again, we've done this for the last 2 years. They have us do it updated every year. And what this is if we have a disaster in town and we have to help, Rupert has to come and help us, or Wells. This is a mutual aid agreement between the 2 towns. They have one, we have one, and this just makes all of the legal issues go away, really, if we use other towns. It doesn't mean that there's any money going back and forth. That can all be decided before or after. This is just a mutual aid agreement between Public Works, and this has a signature for you, Mike, on the
And that, and then we still gotta vote to adopt this plan.
Yeah, you should vote, yeah, and then this signature here,
NIMS.
this signature, yeah, this signature here, you should vote to adopt it, and then sign those two.
And then the rest of it.
Okay, well, I'll move that we adopt the local emergency operations plan for 2023 as presented.
I'll second that.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Can I ask a quick question just about, do you need any verbiage in here about also accepting the NIMS and?
No, as long as I have those
Okay.
documents signed, I don't need anything in there. You know, if you want me to tell you what they signed, I can send you an email.
I heard what you signed, I
Or
just,
just,
I didn't know if you wanted the motion to include the NIMS
emergen-
and the mutual aid, Public Works mutual
I
aid.
suppose it would be safe to do that.
in the NIMS adoption.
So to adopt the local emergency management plan, national incident management system, and Public Works mutual aid agreement for
You got
2023.
it.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I said.
Exactly. That's what I thought I heard. Yes. That's what I heard.
And, you know, at your leisure, if you want to really have trouble sleeping, I would suggest you read the first, I would say the first sections of that emergency operations plan, the first 5 pages anyway. It explains how it operates, what goes into action if we have a town-wide emergency, and what your roles are, really. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Who seconded that?
Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions for Bob? Okay, announcements? Zoning administrator? Nancy?
Hi. So we have 3 new permits this month. The scanning is going well. It's working out to be about, I get about a year a month done. So I'm just finishing up 2020 on the scans. We had a site visit today on a inhabitant living in a camping trailer. The inhabitant wasn't there. We talked to the other people that were on the property. It was in coordination with the deputy health officer, and the health officer went as well. The immediate need, at least from my standpoint, is to just talk with Maryland, find out what we want to do as far as a violation, because they have been living in it for 2 years. And our bylaws say anything over 90 days is a violation. So, as I said, we verbally warned them. I'll follow up with a letter after I talk to Marilyn, find out what recourse she wants to do from there, other than a written notice whether or not they want to start fines after a certain period of time. So that was an event.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I have is, let me see. I think that's about it, except for business that we'll discuss at the end of the meeting.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you. Planning Commission,
Not this meeting.
not at this meeting, okay. Road Foreman's report.
Yes. Hold on one sec. Dale sent me a message, and let's see. The past couple weeks mostly have been spent on winter maintenance, but did get a couple of days for equipment maintenance and for trucking gravel. Took the Dodge in to finish the final set of recalls, and unfortunately there was an unexpected cost for rerouting hydraulic lines, so that could be completed. The 17 Mac had a failure in the DEF wire harness, which was temporarily repaired and will be replaced next week. Hoping the next couple of weeks act more like spring so that the department can work on some bigger projects like tree cutting and working on the Switch Road entrance project. So that's the report. And then, so a couple things that came through. I don't know where we want to start. Maybe that map.
Sure, I don't have it here in front of me, but
Do you want me to print it?
sure, that way we can share it with everybody and they can see what I'm talking about.
Did you all get that? I think did I forward it?
I sent it to the email.
Sent it to mine. I'm not sure if I.
The map?
Yeah, did you
I
see
didn't
that?
I didn't get it.
Well,
I don't
well,
think I
so
saw it.
sorry about that. That was my oversight.
It's a map of the property around the town garage in Pawlett.
Okay.
Did you find the corners?
Yeah, we
Roughly.
found, yeah, unfortunately. So as soon as we get the maps in front of you, I'll explain what's going on.
Okay, let's see if that works.
Just one moment.
Thank you.
How about a little blurb from Donald?
Okay, hold on here.
So looking at the map here, you can see where the town garage is. And the next door, the farm that's right next door, they're conserving this farm.
Mm-hmm.
And they have determined that we've got the stump dump, part of the sand pile, and some other goodies on their property. So there's a couple of options. One, they're willing to consider moving the property line and selling that to us, which I don't think is a great idea. Or we just have to move everything off from it and stop using it. Clean up what we've got on that property. Because as soon as they conserve it, they're gonna be putting pressure on us to get that tidied up. And she'll bring the note I got from Donald from
Sorry, it's kind of
VLCT.
small.
Okay.
Put it on the screen.
No.
What exactly
on a
would we
different-
have to do to the stump dump?
Probably, clean everything up the best we can and grade it off and
Clean
seed
the
it
loose
down.
material so it could be, vegetation could grow on it.
Yeah.
smooth.
We'd have to cover it
Depending
over
on
if they want.
how far they want to push it.
Right,
It
they're,
could be more than just seeding it down.
right, they're gonna direct us on what,
Right. Yeah, no,
I just emailed it to you all too, so you have it to look
I
at.
guess probably what we need to do right off the bat is hire somebody to survey that piece of property for us. So we can concur with them. And make sure there's not a discrepancy in the survey.
yeah, I mean, I would think that's a good
Because I
starting
think
point, but,
everyone in the past that's ever looked said that the line went to the river. And
Right.
and
That's
that's what
been
I've
surveyed?
always been. No, that was just word of mouth, and that's what everybody's been told. So I'm not sure.
not sure how that came about.
Yeah, well,
So probably
If
that's a
that's
good
on-
idea.
if that's on Gould's deed or whatever,
Well,
But
I'm sure the land trust has been digging pretty deep,
I'm sure, yeah.
and they're, in the final stages of wrapping this thing up, and they determined we had all that on their property, and now red flags. And they want to work with us. I mean, they're not out for blood by any means, but we need to find out, what we do own and what we don't.
Yeah. Getting it surveyed does seem like the logical next step. That's if this is the line, then the farm goes on to here, and it goes on to,
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of knew that there,
yeah.
but there must be some records in the town for this property here, I would think,
I don't know.
of what is the town
Do you
property.
think we have a survey here of it? I mean, that'd be the easiest thing.
There's,
Deb might know.
yeah, there's got to be something, or maybe not. It's
Does
It's never been an issue until
Deb,
no.
right now.
Deb, do you know if there's a survey at all in the town hall of the town highway department property?
I do not know. We do have a map index. I can check. That's about all I can do. I don't know off the top of my head if there's town property maps that exist, but it can be checked out.
Okay, thanks.
Frank?
You said sell, but given that it's just, size, kid size sandbox for the most part, really not that big an area, correct?
Well, going even further than that, we're looking to build a town shed here at some point soon. So if they're willing to just let us clean that up, and seed it all down and not have to buy it, and that's acceptable to them, that may be what we want to do, as opposed to, buy that property and then possibly not even have the town shed there in 5 years or 4 years or.
Well, what they would be looking at doing if they wanted to be not looking for money in this whole deal is.
That's not my understanding.
They're looking for a
The guy that's buying it's paying money for it.
There's a guy that's buying it's paying money for it.
That's right. So there's a farmer that's buying all that property, and they brought the land trust in to buy the development rights.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna.
In that deal, though, they could probably gift it over to the town if they wanted to, but I don't know if that's even been talked about. Given the fact that the option is the town isn't willing to pay for it, and is going to clean it up instead, then if he wants to gift it, then that gets all of that out of the way. But that's something that may not have been explained to him.
Oh, I think it has. I think that he's paying for that property.
Right, but the amount of property, that corner where the edges are, that's how many square feet you think total?
You could do a property line adjustment here, I'm sure, and square it up.
Yeah.
But as far as the stump dump and in that area,
I
don't
think
know.
someone just put something in the chat. I don't know if you can see that at all.
I think first thing we need to find out, where the property lines are.
If you just give me a copy of what you just gave everybody else.
Yes, I will do that. Thanks.
Is there liability for the stump dump? Because that's just putting stuff there. I think that you may not even have a liability for that being there.
Oh, I think in this state you do.
Really?
Has that paper with the email?
I think
Get
Mike
passed
has
down.
it.
I had it right there. Did you want to read that, Robert? Really?
Pass that back to Kristen.
Thanks.
You already know all about it.
And they're not interested in turning this into a big deal by any means, but we just need to find out where the property line is and then decide, hey, look, we want to own that, or let's clean it up and stay off from it. Those are the two options in my mind. And they're not being pushy at all. We got to figure that out.
Harley?
Is there enough room to stay off of it? It's 1.3 acres for the town garage, and that's got to be the highest density use, 1.3 acres in town.
Oh, no doubt about it.
It does take a lot of it away out there.
Frank?
kind of related, there was talk for years about locating a town garage up at the pit on Butternut Bend. And doing something along a bigger line there. Depending on how this investigation goes, you may want to incorporate those thoughts into a solution.
And that's what I had mentioned to Donald at the VLCT as well. And I think he mentioned that in his letter there.
If we didn't really want to buy any more property if we didn't plan on staying there that long. If
Right.
the intentions are to move out of it anyway. So, I mean, the stump
Maybe-
dump should either way get cleaned up and capped, so to speak, and terminated. Regardless of
Well,
whether
I think-
they own it or we own it.
Now, is he talking about the stumps here or all this wood here? Rich? Because there's an enormous bunch of firewood right here.
I'm really not sure.
And this here is all covered up where was the stump though. It's pretty much.
So that's all cleaned up and seeded
Yeah,
over and
I don't know if
grassed
they're
out.
talking about all these logs and firewood that are right here on to the right.
Is there any stumps that are visible there that have been dumped? I hadn't been over to check it out.
There may be, it's something that probably could be covered up
Yeah.
fairly quickly and just seed that bank.
That wasn't actively used as an area to get rid of old brush and stuff like that, or
It has been. In
it
the
has
past,
been still
yes.
actively in the
Yeah.
last few years. Okay.
Yeah.
But I still think it's important that we have somebody evaluate our deed to know exactly where our land is, because they can't always trust how the other people look at it and read it.
And maybe we have a survey here.
It's possible, but
Yeah, that's where I would
it's been
go
in the
first.
town for a long time, back before that was really a,
Yeah. And like I'd always heard that it just run out here and it went down to the river and then back up
Sure.
across. So
Right. That's what we always heard, but nobody really cared that much, but till
no,
now.
till now.
And that's not in her deed or their deed.
So
Would you like me to add it to the next agenda after we've had some time to gather more info?
I think we need to, try and gather more information and work through this through the next.
So what I'll do is I'll continue to talk with Donald at VLCT, and Deb can find out if we have a map or we don't have a map, and then we can talk to an engineer or surveyor.
Survey, right, okay. I think that's the best course of action before we make any kind of decisions to gather more information gathering.
yeah.
So, is there anything else on that, or?
Frank?
2 points, brainstorm. One is that I think there was a case in Vermont on squatters' rights recently that went through where they ruled in favor of the person who occupied the property for a whole length of time, where it was understood that was that person's property, and the person who was deeded owner didn't continue to hold the property after the court case. And the other one is, if you're thinking of moving, maybe a prospective farmer might want to take that property over and add it to the farm, in which case there could be money exchanged or not for that, which would benefit going forward on
We'll do some more research on this project and
yeah.
come back with some more information.
Is there
It's
a- is
still,
there
there's still a lot of questions right at this point.
Is there any
Thank you.
timeline that's pressing that they want?
Yeah, they're anxious to get this done. They want to know, so it's not gonna be, a tight timeline as long as we make a decision. Either yes, we want to buy that property, or no, we don't, we'll clean it up. So, I mean, they're anxious to get an answer.
With the farmer like a farm barn.
But I think a couple weeks isn't gonna,
Farmer person who's going to farm it like a farm barn, because
I don't think there's much value there
No.
to him.
I think. Shall we move along to the next
Yeah.
topic for right now? Okay. So we got an email from Greg Krizan from the Vermont Agency of Transportation today, which I forwarded. And I think, sorry if I didn't, but there was an issue brought to their attention pertaining to the rapid radar feedback signs that were installed on State Highway on both Vermont 30 and 133, which is in D1 and D3 respectively. These are unpermitted and are out of compliance with state guidelines and the MUTCD, which I'm not sure what that acronym stands for.
Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices.
Okay, very good. Due to improper signage, placement, standard heights, offsets, and crashworthy posts. These are deemed a hazardous obstacle to the traveling public in the current installation and will need to be removed. I work with our towns and residents on proper permitting and provide guidance on the steps and practices to comply with state regulations and standards for District 1. Attached below are photos of the signage placed. Please reach out to myself here at the District 1 offices for assistance. So, that's exciting and fun. So we'll have to discuss.
We'll consider it.
I guess we gotta find out what the protocol is, what the standard is to do that, or just move it over onto Gibby's parking lot a little farther.
Well, my question, which I didn't want to reply without, you all, but these signs are all over the state on state roadway in various forms. So I think it would be
We're
worth.
the only ones that are compliant.
Apparently, we're the only ones maybe that aren't compliant.
Or maybe they just went around this year and checked everybody's sign. And
Well,
looked at
somebody
everybody.
complained. It
Complaint
seems.
driven.
It was a complaint-driven concern. So, so I think what I'll do if the board supports it is just reply and ask for some action items instead of just telling us that they need to be removed, because that doesn't seem
Right.
like an option.
I mean, we want to comply with the permitting regulations for them, but we want to have them.
Yeah. I mean, and the reason, my recollection is the reason that the town decided to purchase them is because the state is not helping us to enforce the speed.
Yeah, the state won't let us
Uncooperative.
go to 25, so we have
So-
to do something.
So, if the
I
board's...
saw that and I was irritated, honestly. I'm like, what does the state want?
Now,
us
if
to
they
do?
want to pound in some breakaway posts, and we can hang them on there at the given height.
Why? Those are completely portable.
Yeah,
They're
they're
on
portable.
wheels.
They're breakaway.
They're on wheels.
One wheel.
So, if the board's okay with it, I will reply and...
I think that would be a great idea. Try and gather more information on what it would take to comply.
Yeah, just rather than being told, hey, you need to take these down, I at least would appreciate maybe some, like, constructive support.
Like, yeah, what are the guidelines and how do we
Yeah.
get a permit for them?
Well, which they're temporary, so
Yeah.
do they need a permit? If it's not a permanent,
They're portable.
they're portable, so, anyway. That came
There's
into
worse
it.
hazards on the road, like all the trees hanging out in
Yes.
the road that they
Right,
can't
and
even
then-
I know,
cut out
but
of
you
the
know
road.
how the state, if it's in the right of way and it's portable,
Yep.
they're gonna come pick it up. And then we're gonna have to go fetch it. That'll be their next step is
Right.
Oh, what, like the election signs?
Well, they're
they
down
can't do
here.
election
that?
signs, blueberry signs.
When they're down here, they can cut the trees out of the road that keep hitting our trucks when they drive right.
Dinosaurs, they
travel
threaten to
portion
scoop
of
up
the-
some
Oh,
dinosaurs.
yeah,
in the
your
back.
dinosaurs?
Oh, yeah.
Man. Is that why those aren't up anymore? I like those dinosaurs.
Yeah. So I'll reach back out, and then
Right.
he also sent another email shortly after, which I did not forward to everybody, but the state is requesting feedback on whether or not there was any noticeable tree damage, I think, and that needed cleanup after this last winter storm. So I'm just planning to get with Dale on that and figure out if there's anything that we would like to request be tended to. by
Yeah,
the
that
state.
tree by the cemetery.
Yeah, my tree on, by my driveway. No, it's on my land.
Okay.
Any other
Yes,
town?
and then the last thing is that the town received an applicant for one of our vacant highway department positions, and Bob and Dale and myself had an interview with him last week, and it went quite well. And he had a couple questions about rates, and so I just wanted to, publicly update everybody on the fact that we're still interviewing and that there's a good active potential candidate that is qualified. And so he had some questions about overtime and was interested in knowing a pay rate. So wanted to just discuss that. It seemed like he was well qualified and had really great experience, and my interpretation of it all was that it seemed like he would be a great qualified candidate if he was interested in the role, but had a question about the financial details. So
That's something we need to go in an executive session at the end of the meeting for. Okay. Anything else on the highway? Anything from the assessors?
no.
Town clerk's memo? I have access, wait permits, and have a good evening.
Mine is short and sweet, just the fleet permits for Bob's signature.
They're all set, Deb.
Thank you, Bob. Anybody have any questions or comments for me?
Anybody have any questions for Deb?
Yeah, I do. Deb, if you happen to find a map in regards to that property by the town garage, just, I don't know if you can give me a call or email me or let me know that you have that or found it.
Okay. Yeah, Kristen's gonna leave a copy of what you have on my desk, and then I can look to see if there's anything else on file.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All set? Thank you, Deb. Have a good night.
You too.
Town treasurer? Hi, Julie.
Two warrants. The payroll is $10,936.47. Accounts payable is $41,608.12. The general fund monies is $35,173.76. Highway 11,976.07, and wastewater $5,394.56. My new computer is installed and it's up and running. All the NEMRIC data was safely secured. It backs up to the cloud every night, and it was also secured on an external hard drive in my office the day that the crash happened. So all of that is safe. There were some, various Excel and Word documents on my hard drive that were lost, and some of that can be recreated. I'm not actually worried about anything. I'm pretty comfortable because I have everything on NEMRIC. But I will be keeping busy just recreating various, reformatting various documents. I gave you the tax collection information so that you can look through that. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we ended with a delinquent tax levy about $10,000 less than it was the previous year. So we're in good shape there. And that's it for me.
Well, I'll move that we approve these two warrants, 23050 and 23051.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Julie, I have a question for you. The email that I sent you with the bill from Williams, I forgot my phone tonight, so I don't have that email. I also had a quote for a new heater. Can you bring that email up and tell me how much the quote for that new heater was?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any other questions for Julie?
Where's the warrants to actually sign?
Mike, are they under your?
I probably piled. Oh, I piled on it. So in a hurry to get started, I guess.
Not be one of those many meetings where we approve them and then forget to sign.
Right. And then it could go the other way. Do you want to look at anything?
No, I don't know. Anyone want to look at these?
There you go. I'll give that to Tammy. Give it to Tammy.
Sure.
Okay. Bob, do you have emergency management? Nothing for this month, because it's first Monday only.
It'll be
Okay.
the first of the month.
Yes.
I have a question for Julie.
Oh, okay.
Julie, did you want your auditorium request?
I have it on my school board report.
Okay, sorry.
I do have a question for Julie. Can you hear me, Julie? Have you received a bill yet for that, the fill project on 153?
From Markowski's,
Yeah.
oh my God, I could not remember right now.
Well, if you haven't, I'll reach out to him because we have to get that submitted for the grant.
Yes.
Okay, I'll look. It's just not coming to me right now. I'm not able to find this.
It's a big one, so.
That was.
Yeah, and I mean, we had, I want to say yes, because I feel like it came, we anticipated it being 100 and it came in just under. I feel like I'm remembering that, but.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, we'll be after you, so we can get the grant taken care of.
Yes. I did find that. It's $38.50 per unit. For the Movies, it was $38.50 per unit.
$38.50?
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
$3,850.
Okay. Thank you. Locked off and left my phone home. It's like you can't do anything without it. Any other questions for Julie? Okay. Thank you, Julie.
Welcome.
Health officer,
Yes.
Jennifer.
I sent an email to Kristen, but Bob and I inspected the property today. Lots of potential violations, but I haven't heard anything back from the state, so I won't be able to give a full report until the first meeting next month.
That's it. Huh? I have a tough time hearing that. It's
Did you hear
very,
it?
Very low.
Um,
She said they inspected a place and.
There was an inspection done with many possible violations, but won't have any information until the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from the state. I didn't get any response today.
No response back yet from the state.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry, now that everybody's probably done.
We blast everybody out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so wastewater treatment facility. So that's where that comes up. Two things that came up. Not last Friday, but the Friday before, they had a blockage. I think it was somewhere up in the area by the church. And they found a whole bunch of like pieces of cotton clothes cut into rag size pieces, a whole bunch of change, rocks, and stuff like this.
Wow.
So they had to bring down a jet truck and jet it and go on. So just if anybody is listening, that turns into a $3,000 bill, which in essence costs everybody that's on the sewer system $30. Is basically the way the breakdown goes. Because there's just a little over 100 users. So that it's very important that people pay attention to the sewer and
Did you say
what they're putting
change?
down. What?
People were throwing money?
Yeah, there was a whole great big box of change, like probably $15 in quarters in there that they sucked out with the truck.
Wow.
Maybe somebody forgot to empty their pockets before they did their laundry and like had a
They
major
couldn't-
malfunction
2 times.
a couple times.
Yeah, they didn't understand it, and then hunks of rocks and stuff like that too, and they did. So
Not like a kid.
Some small kids doing something with something other than Tonka trucks, maybe.
yeah,
How do you
It
get
just-
stuff like that into it?
Down the toilet?
yeah.
Some of that stuff.
See what'll flush.
And I mean that's.
The old game of see what'll flush.
I wonder what the trap looks like.
And we had a lot of trouble. I mean, when COVID first came out, everybody was flushing all kinds of rags and stuff down. We had to block again, and it just.
I think that's a good perspective though to say every time it's clogged, it's costing every single person.
Right.
Jennifer has her hand up.
Jennifer, go
Is
ahead.
there some way to make that known in West Pawlett? There's the Facebook page, and I'm happy to post something there if you give me the verbiage, because I don't know how people here will know about that unless.
Let me. I'll reach out to Jill and I'll see if we can draft at least in something that we could post in the post office on the board, and you could have it to post on any electronic stuff. But I'll talk to Jill about that and see if we could get some type of brief synopsis of what was found in the cost and how much it actually affects each one of the users. So.
Yeah, I think the cost especially, people pay attention to money.
Right. I think that bill that came through was $3,100 or something like that for that adventure and stuff. And the other thing is the heaters. The one heater that's been down. Jessica got
Yeah, I met with
Jim Kais.
Yeah, who Rich recommended from Wells, and he came to look at it, and he said that even though there are some good rebates and subsidies for getting heat pumps, that given the situation with potential corrosion in the wastewater plant, it is not a good option for that space. So he wasn't able to help us out with that. He was very honest about it and said he didn't want to stiff us. So that was good for him. So then you looked into the propane.
Yeah, I talked to a guy I know, Jake Williams, and he came down and looked at it and was able to work on one of the other heater was starting to have issues now, and he worked on that one and got it going marginally at best. What he found is that both of those heaters are grossly undersized for that building, and they're pretty basic heaters. They're like a garage heater. So he did a little bit of research and found a gas modine that designed for like greenhouses and more moist conditions. It has all stainless steel construction. And he said what he would recommend, that those were each $30,000. And he recommends that we put two $60,000s in. He says because two $30,000s, he says when it was calling for heat in the cold weather, they had to be running very steady. So he felt that if we jumped up to 60, it would give a lot less running time and make them last a lot longer. So he gave me a quote of $38.50 to install a new Modine stainless steel heater.
And that would be 2 of them?
That would be
We'd
just
have to
one
get-
for now,
Okay,
which would
just one
certainly
for
get
now.
us through the season and may very well do it, and then we can put the other one in at when we feel a better timing is.
So there's 2 30s in there right now.
There's 2 30s in there now. and
That one's a 60.
That's 60,000 BTUs.
Yeah, and Jim, who works there, was telling me that when we had that cold snap, it got down to 50 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it couldn't keep up.
Right. So one heater certainly couldn't keep up. And I know Jake, I've known Jake for quite a while. He just went into business on his own, but he's been around, he's been in the working around in that business after he got out of Hudson Valley College for probably 5 years before he went his own. So I have a lot of faith in his opinion, and I think it's a very fair price. I don't know that we're going to save much by going around, and I think we certainly need to get this heater in and up and running.
It sounds like a reasonable price to me, having looked at some other options.
Say we haven't put it in.
Yeah. So he said it'll be, I don't know if he said maybe a week or something to get it, and then he would get it installed as soon as he could, as soon as he got it. So now the other thing is that money could come out of the capital improvement fund, right?
I would
Because it's
think so.
repairs for buildings, not even though it's a sewer treatment plant, it's not really part of that
It's not part of the actual wastewater treatment equipment.
system, right?
It's part of the building.
It's part of the building. And initially, when we first voted on this capital improvement fund, it was for that type of situation, something that would come up in the course of the year that wasn't budgeted.
Yeah, like the boiler breaks or something.
Right. So-
And this is the same sort of thing.
It would be the same scenario, so.
Makes sense to
So
me.
somebody want to make a motion that we hire Jake to,
Sure,
And so-
I'll move that we hire Jake to put that
okay.
propane heater in.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'll get in contact with him tomorrow and get the ball rolling. And as far as, we still have issues with the generator. They're trying to get another electrician to look at it. He looked at it and wasn't confident enough to say, yes, it needs a new transfer switch. He felt that Kinsley needs to come up from Albany, so we have to pressure Kinsley. The biggest problem with Kinsley is that they're so busy and so understaffed that you really got to pressure them to come up and look at it. He says sometimes depending on the age of the transfer switch, they can go in with a laptop and adjust some settings and make them work. He's seen that before too. But he said he wouldn't recommend just replacing it without having them troubleshoot it first.
Is that a excuse me,
Frank?
is that a Generac?
No, I think it's Kohler is what Kinsley does. And it's 3-phase, so that puts most of the normal, like Gary and Dorset doesn't do 3-phase transfer switches and stuff like that. So
Yeah, the guy at Hudson Falls over there, with the correct John Deere and all that, he does those for all around the state and the government. But he said he wouldn't use a Generac, he'd use one of the new Hondas, just as a little.
that was a brand new when the upgrade went in. That was the first time we ever had a generator, but
Yeah.
so we don't know. But Kinsley's the local as far as source goes for anything of 3-phase that size, but they got to come out of below Albany. So, is there anything to add for the facilities report? Mettawee School Board? Anything from Julie on that?
Hello. I'm slowly but surely almost ready. First of all, quick sorry for completely skipping out on February. Life happened, but at our regular meeting on February 13th, the board authorized the superintendent to approve inter-district placement. Heard an update on the ARP ESSER fund projects, and an update on the continued discussion of the new middle school for the Mettawee Green School District. We adopted several policies that had been approved at our January meeting. We had a discussion led by Jim Salzgiver, the chair of the Bennington-Rutland Supervisory Union, regarding legislative topics that impact education. And lastly, we continue to prepare for the community engagement event on March 29th. And I also have a report for our March meeting. At our organizational meeting on March 13th, board elected the chair, Julie Mack, vice chair, Corey Rail, and clerk, Jenna Beecher. We also appointed representatives to the Bennington-Rutland Supervisory Union, Julie, Scott, and Jenna. We approved posting locations, the school in West Rupert PO. We designated the Rutland Herald as our newspaper. All members signed a code of ethics and approved meeting dates for the year. The Mettawee principal, Brooke DeBonis, gave an update on the annual school goals. And the board reviewed and approved the interpretation of policies 2.1 and 2.8 as provided by the superintendent. We also reflected on the annual school meeting and finalized preparation for our community engagement event on March 29th, 7 p.m. at the Mettawee Community School. We're also requesting the use of the Town Hall Auditorium for our regular meetings every other month at 6:30 p.m. The dates are June 12th, September 11th, November 13th, and then in 2024, January 8th and March 11th. And occasionally we would like to see if it was possible to utilize some of the tech devices if we have presentations at our meetings. And that's it.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Julie.
Thanks.
Would you like the school board to fill out an auditorium request, or
We should
do you
should
feel-
vote on that.
So I can look at the calendar. I don't know, Julie, did you already look at the calendar, the town calendar, and see if there's anything on there? I don't believe that there is.
Right, and
Um,
the Historical Society's July, so there's plenty
Yeah.
of room in between that.
Yep. So,
Probably it would be appropriate if we made a motion to allow the school board to have their meetings on the dates that Julie had mentioned in the auditorium. Somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion. To have Julie let the school board have meetings in the auditorium.
I'll second.
Rich can do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, that's it. Okay, so old and unfinished business, the cannabis board. We got one application for review that we've been talking about with you, Nancy, regarding some zoning issues. Have they been squared away, or?
The only issue that has not been resolved is the classification on the greenhouse for that one permit.
Okay, so that has to get,
It's still under ag and it can't be under ag.
okay. So as soon
The
as,
other issues have been resolved.
okay. So just that one, it has to be squared away, and then we can approve that.
Correct.
That one, but we could, the other one is up for approval now? We can do that one?
so last meeting,
Retail?
last meeting you approved the retail.
We approved it last
Yep.
meeting.
And
Okay.
so, but this one, which is for the cultivation, we're very, really starting to flirt with that 60-day.
Yeah, I think we have to do it by the end of the month, right?
Yeah, so just a reminder that if the local board does not make any, not
Right.
say anything, then it's automatically approved. So it's already been approved with the state. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you're just starting to get closer to that 60-day period. I have to look. I can look right now.
Do we know exactly when
Do
the
you
6th,
remember when that came through? Does anybody?
21st, it'll be into April, right?
I thought it was the beginning of February when it came through.
I have it, I mean, I can go look it up if need be.
Frank?
Beginning of February,
I
right?
thought it was, but you might have
Maybe
it in your
February.
email.
Yeah, I feel like it was.
Or Nancy
It's like
can
the
look it up.
9th, I wanna say.
I know I was gonna say the 7th or the 9th, maybe. So anyhow, there's still time, but just an
But
obligatory,
it needs to
obligatory
be done-
reminder that
It needs to be done
it should be,
as soon as possible, so.
yes.
So I have a
So soon
question.
as, what's that?
I have a question.
Yes.
You know, I don't really understand, you know, what is protocol? What exactly is the issue and what needs to happen? Is that something this board can do, or what needs to happen to
So
resolve that?
what needs to happen is the designated site for this permit right now is classified as an ag structure. Cannabis Control Board will not approve anything that's being grown in an ag structure because cannabis is no longer considered an agricultural crop. So they want it to be switched out of ag use. It's paperwork at our level at this point that has to be done.
So it's nothing that the state's worried about, it's not a state issue, it's a town.
Well, it's a state issue in that they know that it's designated as an ag site.
And they approved it anyhow?
No, that's why it's sitting with us.
Well, no, the state approved, what the email we got.
It's like a conditional approval waiting for the town to sign off on it.
And then the state approves it whether we do or not? Is that my understanding?
If we don't take action, it's like any of those permits. If we don't take action, then it automatically goes through.
And we know what action needs to be taken?
Yes.
Yeah, change of use needs to be filed, right?
That's all that needs to be done. It's just a piece of paper and a check needs to be written.
Okay.
Does
Frank?
that involve the planning commission with the unified bylaws? One. Number two, Jessica, you said in an email that you were going to contact leading cities and towns and stuff in regards to any 10-acre issues having to being and how it coexists
Yeah, I
with
haven't done
UBL,
that yet, Frank, but I
with the
will.
UBL, and also
This isn't
For
a
any- for any-
10-acre issue.
this is for any project going forward because there's a question on it.
All right, I'm just telling you, this immediate project does not fall into your concerns though.
Okay, so it's not 10 acre, on 10 acres.
Okay, so if you could reach out again and to the applicant and if we can get that straightened out, we can approve it at the next meeting.
Correct.
And that still gets us in the time frame?
Yep, it looks like February 1st, we got the email.
Okay, and it's how many days?
60.
Okay.
Is the UBL congruent with this?
That doesn't get us in the time window.
No.
It can be any use,
So
it
it
can't
does
be
not.
ag use, but
It does not.
the site's already
Doesn't- I
a
don't-
commercial site, so we're good with all of those other things.
You said you got it February 1st?
Yeah, per CCB Rule 2.14, if a local control commission allows an application to remain undecided for 60 days,
Yeah, so
that
you're all set.
application is presumptively granted.
Okay.
Could we,
We're not undecided, we're decided that it does not qualify.
It doesn't qualify, so that we have to state that they haven't fulfilled the local zoning portion yet.
At this, yeah. Whatever you decide.
Right.
Just
I guess I move that we reply to the state cannabis control board telling them that as of right now, this site is not in compliance with local zoning. I mean, there's not a specific form they want us to fill out. It's just
yeah, so it says, Yeah, it just says, please submit documentation of the local control commission's decision via email.
Okay, then,
It says all applicants are required to comply with Division of Fire Safety requirements, which is documented through a non-jurisdictional letter or fire safety inspection report. The relevant document is attached. In order to issue this license, the CCB requires the approval of the town's local control commission. Please submit the documentation. Local Control Commission authority is defined at 7 VSA subsection 863. The board has developed information for municipalities and local control commissions on its website. And then it goes on to say the deal about the 60-day.
So I have one more question. So is the issue that the applicant doesn't want to apply for the, what is he's gonna have to get a conditional use permit, he or she, or what?
Change of use.
We discussed the whole thing, we said conditional use is just gonna delay it further,
Yeah.
because it has to go to DRB, and then you have to wait so many days, so speaking with Merrill and also with Mike, we decided that the easiest thing to do is just fill it out as if it's going through zoning for the first time. So it would just reclassify that, the greenhouse, instead of it being ag, because when it goes through for an ag permit, it's just a piece of paper, there's not much documentation. So would be to go back and put it through as if it's a non-ag building, almost as if it's being reapplied for, because it's a much faster process than going through the conditional use change.
And that process takes quite a lot of time.
The conditional use one, yeah.
so is the person just hasn't gotten it done? Okay. I mean, I would be fine with if they can get it done in the next week, us saying that it's done, but we're not meeting for 2 more weeks.
I mean, it's,
Meeting on
You
Monday.
satisfied, Rich,
With what?
with your answers?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just don't understand why it's not getting done, that's
but
all.
I can get it done, as I said, it's filling out a piece of paper and writing a check and it's done.
It just seems fruitless to send a email to the state telling them that it's not in compliance when all, something that can be done in a couple days,
Yeah.
Right.
just be done
Can
with
we,
it.
could we, at this time, instead of what I moved before, could we do it that as soon as the paperwork is done, we approve it? Like,
Conditionally,
Yeah, conditionally.
if they fulfill the
As soon as the
Local
change of-
zoning?
Yeah, as soon as the change of use goes through and it complies with local zoning, we approve it?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that the CCB is not a well-oiled machine, so I'm not sure how, I don't know how that works.
I can reach out to the attorney up there, because he's really good about
we would still,
response rates.
right,
It's just, yeah.
So how about this? I move that we approve this application pending the change of use form being filed with the local zoning administrator. So basically, as soon as they do that, then you can let Kristen know, and Kristen can just get back to them and say that we approved it.
Frank, just a minute, Jim.
There was also a discussion, I think, I don't know if you were there, but that essentially if nothing's done, the control board will issue anyways.
That's what we,
Right.
yeah, we,
So if you just do nothing, it just gets issued.
right.
But we don't want to do nothing. We
Right.
want to do it correctly.
But it doesn't matter.
Jim?
Question I have is the property recognized as commercial right now?
Yes.
It is recognized by the town. Is there a letter that can be sent that says that that's recognized as commercial to go along with the greenhouse?
So, the issue is that the property is commercial, but the building is not.
And my question is can a issue letter come from the town that says the property and the greenhouse would then be commercial?
Correct.
It can, okay.
Yes.
If it can, that's great. I'm all for it.
I think,
I'll second that.
But what's,
no, I was just going to say that when the town submits if and when the town submits a message to the CCB that says they're in favor, that then infers that everything is copacetic and
Compliant.
So an
compliant.
additional letter probably isn't needed.
So we could, though, I mean, it
Could.
couldn't hurt to attach a letter from the zoning administrator that just says, this is just to clarify that this, all buildings associated with this permit are registered
In the property.
commercial with, right, or, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the lingo.
Yeah. If it came through as 7008, building and property, and then with the greenhouse, which is obviously a part of that, was all one package, that's totally acceptable.
yep, that can be done.
Perfect.
So Jessica moved and Rich seconded.
Rich seconded. Any more discussion about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So just to clarify,
Yeah.
I will wait to hear from you, Nancy, when the paperwork gets submitted to request the change of use for the greenhouse. And then once I get that, I will write to the CCB. Right? Did I get that?
That's what, yep.
That's what you, okay.
That's what I intended.
All right, just making sure I understood.
Anything else under old or unfinished business? Anything under new business?
I think so.
Public comment?
I don't,
I neglected to mention during the facilities section that I believe at the last select board meeting, the inspection of the heating systems was mentioned. And I know for a fact that someone from Kisa
Mm-hmm.
was at the library. I believe they were also at town hall
Okay.
inspecting the regular maintenance.
Yeah, it was for the yearly maintenance for the boilers.
Frank?
And Jessica, you have a clarification of the 10 acre and Act 250. You found out the information?
I haven't found it out yet, no, Frank. I was thinking that I would bring that up with the planning commission next week,
Okay.
but yeah.
But the language I was reading and I sent out, it was not a building size, it was pretty much a lot size, which triggered it, where a project was happening, would trigger Act 250 if in excess of 10 acres.
Yeah, I neglected to reach out to VLCT yet about that, so I will do that by the end of the week, so that I should be able to get more info by the planning commission next week. You did, however, probably get my response about we are an officially a 10-acre town on their newest list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the state website had that old information.
Yeah, but then on a different spot, they had the new information, so we're good as far as that goes.
We're good there. That's
Yep.
a good thing.
Julie has a hand raised.
Oh, Julie?
This is public comment time, right?
Yes.
I'm having a hearing, okay. Just a small, one more shameless plug, March 29th, 7 p.m., Mettawee Community School, we're having a community engagement event. It's for everybody, you don't have to be parents of kids that are school aged. We want to have a dialogue with our community about what matters in public education. And as we all know, public education is for everybody. Thank you. I'll get off my soapbox now.
Thank you. Okay, I'm looking right here. This is USGS has a questionnaire that we have to fill out for the, looks like the gravel pit. Non-fuel minerals. Sounds like a job for Dale.
Well, it's not active.
So we do have to start to think about the grant applications are due for highway, middle of April. So I am planning to get with Dale in all my spare time, to try to help wrap our arms around that together. So for the next meeting, I think the goal will be to, come to the board with some proposed ideas.
I would think that would be appropriate, yes.
Oh, and I guess just an update, I remembered I got an email today reminding me that during the month of April, we'll have to do our yearly ARPA funds reporting, which I will get with Julie about, because we have to report what we spent from that in the past year. I did that reporting last year, so Julie and I can work on it together this year.
Okay. Is there anything else that need to discuss in the open meeting session? Frank?
Just wondering if that 10-acre person clarification could come into the planning commission meeting on Zoom, and this is a thought. And then if there's any questions that pop up, we can get them answered right off the bat.
I would guess probably not with short notice like this, but I will ask.
Thank you.
We're all set. We're gonna go into executive session to discuss
Labor relations agreements with employees.
labor relations.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.